Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. I'm your host, Miss Camene, and this is Phone Call. I have with me my brother from another mother, Mike. What it do?
What up, YouTube? Here on Phone Call, we focus on all the hot topics and perspectives between men and women. Sometimes we come up with common ground. Might not get so lucky today, we'll see. Every week we'll have different people on the show, but this week we have Goldy, Angela, and Sticks. Say what up to the world, y'all.
What's going on, y'all?
I was out last week and I saw that the comment section loved having a different man on and hearing a different perspective. So good job, Sticks, and Holly. Your perspective definitely got the fire going. So thank y'all for doing such a good job last week. If you missed that last episode, make sure you go back and check it out. Leave your comments and let us know what you think. This week though, Camene, what you got for us?
Hey, oh my gosh, thank you. It is going to be so good, you guys. I'm like, you know what? We need to, now that we have a couple men on here, let's talk about something that, some of the women have been telling me about their situationships. I'm like, let's talk about open relationships. I was like, to me, I'm like, an open relationship is more like the poly life, right? Where you can have more than one partner and you guys have that whole thing. But I actually Googled it and it says that an open relationship or marriage is just a sexual relationship with another person. So you guys just have sexual exchange. It's not the full-on relationship, that comes with all the emotions and all that kind of good stuff. So I'm like, that is very interesting. And then it took me back. I'm like, okay, Will and Jada, they had this whole open relationship. They were like in a whole situationship where they agreed upon doing it. And then I felt like maybe Jada just lost touch of what the whole sexual thing, and it became more of like sexual and emotional. So that made it a relationship. I'm like, all of it together, honey, I just don't think it's gonna work. I don't think that open relationships are really, they survive. Like, what do y'all think about it? Because I'm like,
I mean, I just feel like, how can you really have long-term sexual relationships with somebody without some type of emotional attachment? Long-term, I mean, if you're trying to have a fly-by-night, one and done sneaky link, then maybe that might be able to go down. But I kind of look at it like a car. When people want their cars to go faster, for my car people, you understand, like they'll gut their car. They take all of the seats out, the seat belts, they'll take everything soft out of the car to make it lighter and make it faster. So now you got this fast 9-second car, but you're the only one that can sit in it. It's not comfortable, it's not safe, right? And so when I look at a relationship, I'm kind of traditional, man. I'm thinking about the long term, the big picture stuff, the safety, the security of it all, the potential for wealth, the legacy for the kids, things like that. And I think when it comes to poly relationships or open relationships, I think it's more about your life right now, just the convenience, the adventure, the variety, still love. But I think when you eliminate the human aspect of wanting to feel special by your person and real intimate love, I just feel like there might be a lack in that long term. In addition, when thinking about long term, I also think about how the story might change a little bit when you involve children. Because it's easy to talk about just the sex side of it, but if you're doing this long term and somebody get pregnant, how are the children going to be managed in a situation with 3-4 parents? You know what I mean?
Yeah. What do y'all think?
I mean, you made some excellent points, Mike. It's all of those things can flow very well because children don't have to know what mommy and daddy do. However, I just why be in a relationship if you feel that you need to be with someone else? Just date. Just date them, and just what's understood doesn't need to be explained. But to be in an open relationship is kind of like somebody's just a sex monger. We'll just say that. That's a nice way of putting it.
Yeah, because after reading it, I'm like, okay, I thought it was the poly life. And then I'm like, no, the poly life is like relationships.
That's
not relations without the ship. We talking about, you know what I'm saying?
Instead of rating that, right. Instead of doing an open relationship, how about you go to therapy?
Yeah.
I mean,
get help that you need.
Yeah. There's no STDs at therapy. There's no extra children. Let's therapize this scenario.
Yeah.
Sticks, what do you think about that? What do you think?
I think all relationships start as open relationships. So when you guys decide to close that door, I think it's up to the potential couple or whoever else is involved. But I wouldn't make a commitment like that unless you're ready to be monogamous or to see one person. I think that's what gets a lot of relationships in trouble. people say, okay, we're gonna be exclusive, but in their mind or in their actions, it's another story.
Yeah. So you think everybody starts off in an open relationship, and then you guys have that conversation?
Sure.
Absolutely.
I think even if you want to be monogamous off jump, I've noticed if you bring up, I've noticed that if men bring up that they want to be in a relationship or committed monogamous relationship first with a woman, usually that woman runs for the hills. She's like, yo, this guy's crazy. He wants to be together. We just start going out. He's just too all over me.
You feel that pressure.
Suffocating me. I'm out. And they're gone. Flip side to that, the women usually, they find slick, sneaky ways to question or to progress the relationship.
What are we doing?
Monogamous.
Yeah.
Where's this going?
Which is what?
Where is this going? What are we doing? What?
Yeah. What are we? I think
what
the
are
famous,
we? Yeah.
What are we? That's what I usually get. So I was just wondering. My friend was asking me, my mom, and I'm no pressure, but what are we? Like, I just want to know.
Well, we want to know. Because I feel like there's been a lot of the times that the women are in relationships. Here we are thinking it's going to be a happily ever after. And you're like, no, this is a full on situation. Like, we are in an open relationship where I can do what I want in the open relationship, but you can't. Do you feel like if the woman felt the same way that it would work out? Where the woman was like, okay, I'm in an open relationship. We both are. I'm doing the same thing you doing. Does that work?
Women are notoriously in open relationships when you first meet them. I've never met a beautiful woman who didn't have a boyfriend or didn't have some significant other or a sex buddy or something. Like, it's going down.
I guess I'm Quasimodo then, huh?
Yeah, it's just when they catch feelings, they want to flip the script. They want to take that control now away from you, your freedom, and they want to lock you down.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes and no. That's a certain type of woman, right? Because I can speak for this type of woman, and as the last show, I am a representative of the union. There are other sides. Like me personally, I'm not going to say I love you first. I have a whole lot of ego. I have a whole lot of pride. I don't want to bend first. And it may slip out in an intimate moment, but when it's over, I didn't mean that, that was just pillow talk. But no, in all reality, I'm not going to have that question. I'm going to place him in positions to make him have to determine and to say. And so it's the matter of, you don't have to say what are we and where are we going or any of that. If you're in an environment and see how he introduces you. If he introduces you as my friend or, hey, this is just Goldy, you're like, okay, I'm just Goldy. So I'm going over here. I'm gonna let him get me a drink and we'll see if I'm still Goldy at the end of the night.
Yeah.
So Goldy, it sounds like you, when you're in relationships, you are conscious of your power position. Like, I'm never gonna say I love you first, and it's like, because I was talking to Camene about this before. I had a conversation with a woman, and I asked her what she was looking for in a relationship and in a man. And one of the things that she said that stuck out to me was, I'm looking for a man that loves me more than I love him.
That's right. You know why?
And the person who loves the less and cares the less loses. Yeah. And I think that's a common.
I wouldn't end it with that. Yeah. I wouldn't end it with that, but I hear you, and I've heard that.
I hear that very commonly amongst young people, in their 20s especially, where it's like the new wave is just acting like you don't really care and taking all of the emotional risk out. So if you get rejected, it's like, well, I didn't really like him or like her that much, so it don't really matter or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like a lot of that comes with this poly stuff and open relationship stuff. It's like you want the benefits of a relationship without the risk of public humiliation or heartbreak or whatever, because
with the poly is the poly because they're in a relationship. So you're just in a relationship with more than one person.
Relationships. But even with poly, I think when you're talking about a relationship with more than one person, you're putting a lot of your happiness in the hands of another person. And because that is not easy and it's impossible to expect to get everything you want out of one person, then to think, well, why just have one person? It's like, yeah, that's okay. But do you also want to get everything you want with 2 or 3 different people, but then realize whatever it is you're weak at in your relationship, they have somebody else that fills that gap?
I'm going to kind of respond to your first portion, which was the loves me more than I love him. It's not about being detached or non-emotional and not really invested. Okay, it is more so the fact of when a man loves a woman more than she loves him, because as women, we tend to be nurturers, right?
Mhm.
But when he loves you more, he's going to do and make sure everything is taken care of. And you're going to automatically do what you need to do as a woman and care for him. And it's not about you love me more or I love you more than you love me, or it's not even a fit like that or a balance in that sense. It's more so the fact of we tend to be more emotional creatures. We tend to be nurtured in that aspect. So when it is like that, it does give a greater balance. And if he loves you more than you love him, or if he loves you at a greater rate, then
Mhm.
he's less likely to cheat because and you said younger people. I'm not one of the younger people, but thank you if you thought if you tried to put me there, but no. In reality though, my school is more so the fact of men will cheat more. Nowadays,
Yeah.
nowadays it's a little different.
I'm gonna have to
Lot
push
different.
back on that. I'm gonna have to push back on that.
You can.
For one, the idea that just because women are more emotional is somehow synonymous to them being more loving, I think that's a wildly popular but inaccurate statement. I don't think women could ever love a man the way a man loves a woman, because a man's love is not even something that a woman really has to earn. Everything a woman has to offer, a man has to
I
earn
don't
it.
agree with that.
Everything,
You're going down a different road.
everything a woman has to offer, a man has to earn it through courtship. Through courtship, that's really all a test for the man. Like I've said before in almost every other show, men are raised on how to make women happy. Women are raised on what to expect from a man. So while we're trying to check off the check boxes that women have, a lot of women don't even have a list of what they're supposed to do for a man.
That's not necessarily true. I'm gonna cut you off right there, because in actuality, we're not comparing love and how a woman loves versus how a man loves, right?
Well,
It's more
you
so
said
what I'm
women
saying.
love more than men.
No, what I'm saying is that we are nurturers. We will care for men differently. There is that balance between man and woman. Men are providers, women are nurturers. We raise the children. Now, mind you, I'm saying the mindset of what is expected or what should be understood as such. What's going out in these streets right now, I can't speak to that, right? So this is the expectation and where I'm coming from. Women are the nurturers. We build and we raise and we take care of the home, which means that we are supporting the man. We are speaking positivity into him. We are doing all those things and being his cheerleader, his coach, his everything, all those things within the home. Those are the things that a woman provides in essence. And those are things that a woman should expect to have to provide, right? Loyalty and all the things that a man needs to feel good and to get out here and fight the world. Whereas the man is to provide that home. He's the one that's out there kicking the world's ass to come back and to provide for the family. So if you have a man that really, really gives a damn, he's going to brave the toughest lions and all the beasts out there for that woman. And she's going to make sure everything is straight naturally, because that's her home as well. She's going to make sure it's straight.
I 100% agree with you. Camene, how do you feel about that point of view? Because in the past, you've definitely spoken against that mindset.
What about the women being, no, in the past,
the gender roles, because what she's describing is traditional gender roles.
That women now don't really want to stay at home and, no, let me take that back. We do want to stay at home. We want to kind of do a little bit of this and a little bit of that. So we want to go out there and work and provide and help contribute towards that, but we still have to do the things that are expected of us, which is take care of the kids, make dinner, all those other different type of things. So I'm not against what she's saying. I'm just saying some women want to go out there still and do what the men's role is, and they also still get left with being home doing the other stuff the women are supposed to do.
I totally agree with you, Camene, because see, I am not a Susie Homemaker type. I'm really not. I want a Fortune 500 company, understand that. But yet and still, this is what's in me as a nurturer. And that's what I just went into depth even more. So when we are both out there and we have our own beasts and our own things and lions or whatever to slay out there, it's going to be a greater balance. He's going to have to come in the home a little bit more and do some things because we're both out there. But the fact of the nature is that women are, in essence, expected, or should I say, have been nurturers. We are the tender ones that raise the children and speak positivity and speak power to our men. And that, no matter if we're a CEO or a soccer mom, that's what we do.
Yeah.
So with that being said, is the supporting, statement that
I agree. I agree with you 100% when it comes to how you describe those two roles. However, what you just described was a very traditional standpoint, peppered with some of the modern, I still want a Fortune 500 company, and I can still do that and be nurturing and all of those things. And it sounds like Sounds like I want a little bit of everything, while at the same time
want it
still
all.
expecting men to be traditional men.
No.
So like it always comes back to
Hold on.
this kind of a, I want to be able to be home and be nurturing and be soft, but be a money maker, be assertive, be an equal decision-making partner, and all of those things. But a man still has to be this height, make this much money, have this.
And
look,
I think it does, like I said,
It's
it goes
good.
both ways. That's how I feel. But
Well,
I
no,
do want to
that,
know, I do
but
want to
re-
know, Angela, your take on the open relationships before we go into the
Yeah,
gender
please.
roles.
So the dark side, okay.
I'm gonna bring
My
it back. Go ahead.
opinion, I mean, I've had personal experience with presenting the idea to my ex-husband, actually. So I was married for a really long time, and it was rocky, right? And a lot of infidelities on that side. And when I present the idea, like, okay, well, let's just make it an open relationship, right? Like, why not? Because we have all these children. We're trying to raise a family. We really don't want a divorce, but something ain't right. Like, I'm just gonna, if you do you, I'm gonna do me, and we're gonna try to make it just stick it together for the kids. But as soon as I presented that idea, negative. He was not for it at all. Now, did he want to stop what he was doing? No. Did he? Probably not. But
so you were
still
wanting to
was,
do it to think that you were going, like, that it was going to save the relationship because you still cared about him enough to keep him around and not like push him off to the side fully. You just
I
wanted.
mean, I wanted our family to stay together for sure. I mean, we have 3 children together. So I wanted our family unit to kind of stay, but it did have another layer behind, which wouldn't really be out in the open, but for us to kind of find a solution without coming to a divorce, I was willing to kind of explore that idea. Not that I really wanted it, but I was just wanting to see, like, well, what is this going to be? What's this going to become?
Yeah.
But I never got the okay.
Yeah.
So
you would have done it.
So.
You would have been, so you wanted to do it. You wanted to try it out. You thought it would be.
Really, I did, only because I was like coming to a breaking point where I was just kind of over it. I was kind of over just getting, like, just taking that type of hurt, and I kind of was checking out emotionally. And when you check out emotionally, then you can, partake in other things. You can go and have another side relationship if you want.
Right.
So I was on the brink of that. So I was open to it, not saying that I really wanted to. Of course, I wanted my marriage to work out, but I was willing to give it a try.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I don't think men are for it.
No, men.
There's plenty. Oh, go ahead, Goldy.
What you were saying, to your point though, Mike, you were saying that we want this CEO, we want Nate, we want that. But what is it that men want? Men say, well, if I'm doing this, I'm out here slaying all these beasts. I want to be able to tap that. I want to be able to marry a woman that has this figure, and not just money, but in her physical sense. She has to be this, she has to be. So you also, as men have standards as well, and they want to mix all the things in as well.
Well, no, I think men have standards, and men have very recently been able to have standards without being shamed on the level that we used to before. But the standards that we have, or I should say the expectations that are on us, have not changed. Like when you think about from the beginning to now, the only thing that's really been changing between men and women is women, their capabilities, their freedoms, and their opinions about what they should bring to a relationship because of their new freedoms, I guess you could say. And so no matter how much a woman gains financially and all of those things, it doesn't change the fact that she's still looking for a man that makes just as much or more money than her, and all of those other things. So it doesn't really go both ways, because what's expected of a man really has always been expected of a man. As a matter of fact, a little bit more, like you said, Goldy, because now we're both out there. Now he has to do more domestic stuff at home than he used to do before. Right. So it doesn't really go both ways.
So go ahead, honey.
No, I was just, so with that being said, why is it that men still suck so poorly at it if they've always been, that's been expected of them?
Can you elaborate on how we suck at that?
Well, I mean, men say, oh, well, the woman has this, or you didn't, the income or this, and we have to provide. There's so many people that men aren't providing as they should or have in the past. They've stepped away from that in a lot of ways.
Wait, why are you laughing, Sticks? What do you
think I'm funny?
Wait, no, Sticks, do you agree with what Mike was saying? Because I just want to get another male's perspective. Do you agree with what he was talking about?
Yeah, a lot of what he was saying sounds on point. A lot of what Goldy is saying sounds on point. I think there's a misconnection though with not seeing the hypocrisy on the other side. You know, I don't know. I don't know how men are not providing as much anymore. You know, they don't have the much presence in the workforce that they used to have. So there's not as many jobs available for men, or the more women are in the workforce, the more, not less jobs for men, but less opportunities, right? So if there's more women in the workforce, then other men have to find other jobs, sometimes in other industries, in other markets. So maybe they can't make the income or even show that they can provide, because some women don't need a provider. They don't need anybody to pay their bills. They don't need anything
look for
from
it.
a man. What they're looking for sometimes is that sexual relationship, if anything.
But even
Because
when they don't need
even
it,
want a man to lead. They don't even want a man
even
to
when they
lead.
don't need it, but even when they don't need it, they still have it as a list, expectation on their list.
Well, I think all women look for money first. I think the same way as guys kind of look for looks first, I think women look for money first. So, you know, if he ain't got the bread, then, you know, we don't.
What do you think, Angela? You agree?
I mean, I've dated all types. I do prefer the ones with money, of course, but I've dated some that were, you know, kind of trying to make it, working a regular, I don't know. Regular job.
Like, no,
okay, but what attracted you to those regular job guys?
They was fine.
Really, the conversation really is what it is. What'd you say?
He said they were fine as hell, and I'm laughing.
They was fine. I look, all those rules.
Those rules get broken for 6 packs and 6'4".
Yup, you ain't gonna get no ugly broke dude.
No, I have dated an ugly broke dude. I'm not gonna name no names or what state he in, but he exists, right?
You with him now?
No.
Okay.
The point is that I have done that, and it became more of a connection. But, you know, circling back to the topic, if a man, I'm gonna ask Sticks and Mike. So if you're in a relationship and you want to have an open relationship, would you have an issue with your woman having an open financial relationship then?